Alright YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I'm back in my house again, and today we're talking about guns again. Specifically, we're talking about pistols. We're going to be talking about the Sig Sauer P365 X Macro and the Glock 19. So, I want to discuss my experiences with both of these pistols, and I want to kind of dispel the idea that the X Macro is some sort of high-speed Glock killer, because in my personal opinion, I don't believe that to be the case. But which one is right for you? Let's talk about that. So I'll start with the Glock 19. If you don't know what this is, then you have been living under a rock for the past 40 years, because the Glock 19 is the most famous, most well-known pistol in the entire world. Everybody knows what this gun is. It is a polymer-framed, striker-fired semi-automatic pistol with a double-stack magazine. It is a very, very innovative and influential design, and most firearms companies today that make handguns are in some way taking characteristics from this design and implementing it and trying to improve on it. And for the most part, many companies have. Many companies have improved on this design and have been able to do things better than Glock. But what Glock has that most other companies don't is a decades-long track record of reliability and service by multiple law enforcement and military agencies across the world. This is a extremely reliable handgun, and it shoots flat. It shoots really well. For me personally, I can get a very good grip on this to control the recoil. By the way, this gun is clear, so you guys can see right there. This gun is clear, safe to handle. Yeah, this gun is reliable, it works, it shoots well, and I have had very minor issues with it while I have owned it. I did have a couple malfunctions when I first got it. When I was shooting it during one range session, I shot almost 700 rounds, I think, and once I passed the 500 round mark, the gun was extremely dirty and I started getting failures to feed. So the slide would lock back before the magazine was fully emptied. The round had ejected, but it did not feed the new round into the chamber. So a simple tap rack fixed the issue. And after I cleaned it, I didn't have any more issues in that range session. And every range session I have cleaned the gun, and I have continued to shoot the gun without any reliability issues. So overall, this is a really well-performing pistol. Now, onto the Sig and what I like about it. The Sig Sauer P365 X Macro is a compact pistol by design, but it has the capacity of a full-size pistol, which is really nice. This pistol is smaller than a Glock 19. It has a shorter barrel, a narrower grip, which to me I don't like, but it is what it is. It has a narrower grip. It is a thinner gun. So I'm just gonna try and show that to you guys. This is super awkward. But it's a thinner gun by a lot, so that makes it more concealable. But it has the same capacity as the full-sized Glock 17 pistol, which also has 17 rounds. That, in and of itself, is extremely impressive. The fact that Sig was able to fit 17 rounds into this mag is wild. It is really high performing. That being said, I do live in Hawaii. This is a restricted state with a mag capacity of 10 rounds for pistols, so I unfortunately do not get to enjoy the full benefits of this gun, but it is what it is. I get to live in paradise, and with that there are some trade-offs, so I can live with that. Anyway, aside from that, this is also a polymer-framed, striker-fired, semi-automatic pistol with a double-stack magazine. The thing that this pistol has that my Glock 19 does not is a optic-ready slide. So this Romeo X Red Dot came pre-mounted and pre-zeroed to the gun. So as soon as I took it out of the box, all I had to do was slap on this TLR 7A Streamlight and get to firing. And in terms of reliability, since I talked about that with the Glock, I have had issues with reliability with this, and those issues, I believe, were caused by the magazines. So even though these magazines are a kind of a marvel of engineering, they do have their issues. If you load up the magazine to 10+1, then it is very likely that you will induce a malfunction in the gun. So for me, when I loaded up the magazine to 10+1 and I fired, after popping off the first shot, I would consistently get failures to extract with the weapon. So I would fire the shot, this gun is also clear, I would fire the shot, the round would cycle, but the casing, the spent casing, would not extract and eject from the weapon, and that would cause a jam. So I had to take out the magazine, rack the slide a few times, and then try to get that spent casing out of the gun. And then I would have to reinsert the magazine and continue firing from there. It was a much more time-consuming process than simply tap rack banging my Glock. But those are the only reliability issues that I had with the X Macro. After I stopped loading up the gun to 10+1, I did not experience any further reliability issues with that. So I would say that in terms of the X Macro, its malfunctions were user-induced, and in terms of the Glock, I think I just pushed it to its limits that day, and since then I have been very meticulous about keeping this gun cleaned and oiled. That way it doesn't have any further malfunctions. And so far I've been successful in that venture. Now, comparing the guns in terms of shootability is, it's pretty clear-cut in my opinion and in my experience. The Glock 19 is a much more controllable pistol than the Sig X Macro. As you can see with my 19, I have a lot of real estate where my dominant hand does not cover the grip, and that allows me to get a firm grip with my support hand on the gun. So I can really seat my support hand well into the gun, and I can control the way that this gun recoils a lot better. This gun is not snappy at all. The recoil impulse is very light, and I don't have any issues with getting fast, quick follow-up shots, even though I'm shooting without a red dot on there. With this gun, what I notice is that the grip is narrower, so there's less real estate for me to wrap my support hand around. I find that my support hand, and specifically the meaty portion closer to the wrist, is having trouble finding a place to stay and finding a place to seat itself on the grip. So that means that I have a harder time controlling the recoil of this gun, and it just makes the gun a bit snappier. I believe that that is a trade-off due to the ergonomics of the weapon and just the way that the grip was designed, and there's not really anything I can do about that. For me, the Glock 19 just shoots better, and the Sig X Macro, even though I can shoot it reasonably well, even though I can depend on it in a life or death situation, I do not believe that it is as high performing as the Glock 19 in terms of shootability.
Wow, stand off.
So with that being said, in terms of concealability, it's really all going to be down to what kind of holster you get. I have a Tenacor Malice Soul holster for my Glock 19, which conceals this very, very well. If I was wearing this, you would not know that I was carrying this. But with this is even more concealable and it's even more comfortable. You will not know that I am carrying this weapon if I am carrying this weapon, and for me, even though I know the gun is there, it doesn't feel like it is there. I don't know how else to put it, but this gun just disappears in my clothes, or underneath my clothes. It doesn't feel like it's there because it's just such a small and compact package that I really don't notice it. It doesn't, dig into my hip, it doesn't protrude out obscenely, and the holster that I have for this, which is a T-Rex Arms Raptor holster, which I have right here, the camming wedge on this really helps to rotate the grip into my body. That way it does not protrude and cause printing. So in terms of concealability, again, it's really all down to holsters and what holster you select, so make sure you get a good holster. But both of these guns are very concealable, although I would have to give concealability to the X Macro, in my opinion. Regarding any like miscellaneous issues with the guns, in terms of the Glock, for some reason, still insists on putting cheap plastic iron sights on their guns out of the box, and I absolutely detest that. It is mind-bogglingly annoying how they continue to put plastic iron sights on these guns. As you can see, I do not have the stock sights on there. I have Trijicon HD XR night sights on here, which are very, very durable, very, very reliable, and they work well in low light situations. So that was the only modification that I made to this gun. That was the only modification I felt that I needed to make, and it just works a lot better for me than sticking with the cheap plastic iron sights. Those things absolutely suck, and I hate them. I didn't have that same problem with this. Again, the optic came from the factory pre-mounted and pre-zeroed, and these iron sights are also stock from the factory as well. So you don't have to worry about that right out of the box. The only thing I needed to do to this gun was add the light onto it, buy the holster, and I'm good to go. If you're looking for the convenience of not having to add anything to your gun, then I would probably recommend going with the X Macro. But going back to shootability, if you're looking for the most reliable, most trusted platform that just works, then you need to go with the Glock 19. The Glock 19 has decades and decades of service and has a very, very long track record, like I said, for reliability in many use cases. You can go on YouTube and you can see multiple torture tests of people putting the Glock 19 into situations that nobody should really ever put their Glock 19 into. People put these things through very adverse conditions and it still shoots like a dream. It shoots really well, and there's really not too much to say about this because of the fact that it's just so cut and dry. This is kind of one of those jack of all trades, do it all type of situations where this is really all you need. If you just got this, if this was your only gun, it would suit all your needs. Home defense, concealed carry, duty use, you know, going to the range and just plinking and having fun. This gun does it all, and it does it all really well. The X Macro, on the other hand, is a good option for home defense, but I think personally it's a bit more oriented towards concealed carry because that is just the nature of it, being its size. It's more oriented towards concealed carry, and in terms of home defense or duty use, I don't think this gun is really ideal for that, even though it probably could manage those roles decently enough. At the end of the day, the decision between getting a Glock 19 and an X Macro comes down to what you value. If you value a gun that you can shoot reliably out of the box without any issues, then, and that one that you can really trust, again, I think you should go with the Glock 19. But you will have to make a couple small modifications to it in order to get the gun up to a serviceable standard, in my opinion. If you want something that is prepped and ready to go out of the box, that has a higher round count and is going to be more concealable, then the Sig X Macro is what you're looking for. I would recommend getting the X Macro with the Romeo X optic pre-mounted. That way you don't have to go and do it yourself and possibly mess up the process. So that's really going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I want to know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you own either one of these guns, I definitely want to hear your thoughts. And if you own both of these guns, please let me know what your experience has been like. Aside from that, I'm going to cut the video here. Stay safe, follow the law, and take care.